Hello, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. We're about to start our Facebook only tonight. Our Bible enrichment due to the weather, such bad weather that we were having. So we're going Facebook Live. Everyone that's coming on, everyone that's joining in, I'm asking you to make sure that you tag, share, and invite. Once again, make sure that you tag, share, and invite. Once again, tag, share, and invite. We're truly grateful for everyone that is coming on tonight. As talk once again, our Bible enrichment. We thank God for each of you. We truly thank God, my son, Pastor Odom, Lady V. We're truly grateful for you all. Good evening, man. Good evening. Praying that all is well. Make sure that you all tag, share, and invite. Go ahead and do it. Tag, share, and invite 5 people, 5 to 10 people. Go ahead and do that now. I am truly grateful, regardless of what's going on, that this is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it, praying and trusting that you're doing the same, that your day is going well. Good to see you, Sister Joyce. Good to see you. Good to see each of you that are coming on. Good to see you, Keita. All of you all, make sure that you tag, share, and invite. Amen. For our Tuesday night Bible enrichment. Once again, we're grateful for everyone that are tuning in with us as we're going Facebook Live only on tonight. Due to the weather, we had some bad weather in this area, and it's still pending. So just want to make sure that everyone is well. I had a couple of tornadoes come through, but yet and still God is good. Tag, share, and invite as we get ready to go a little bit deeper. God is going to bless us tremendously on tonight. There was a word that is directly for you. Tag, share, and invite. Good to see you, Sister D, Brother J. Good to see each and every one of you all. Sister Rose, good to see all of you all. Come in. Come on. Let's go. We're about to get started. Not going to be on long, but just want to give you, even as we was in the brick and mortar, I want to go forth to give you something on tonight that's going to help you. Amen. Because we know that there are many things that's trying to come against all of us, not just you. The enemy is trying to do everything that he can to knock all of us off focus. We truly thank God. Good to see you, Brother Marcus. Thank God for everyone that are coming on tonight. Once again, thank you for joining us with our Bible enrichment on a Tuesday night. Truly grateful. Go ahead, tag, share, and invite. Let's go ahead and get started. We're truly grateful. This is the day, once again, that the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. We thank God for each and every one of you. Don't be afraid to send your hearts, your thumbs up. Let me know that you're on this, that you're in the chat. Let me know that you're here with us. Don't be afraid to send your hearts. Once again, do what you need to do. Good evening, Bro Jay, Bro Joseph, Sister Vivian, Sister Tina. Good to see all of you all. Good to see you all. Good to see each and every one of you all. You all come on. Let's get ready to go. Good to see you, Juan. Good to see all of you all. Sister Wanda, you and Bro Warren, we thank God for each and every one of you all. Tonight, we're going to go directly into our Bible enrichment. Good to see you, Sister Jackie. Good to see you. Good evening, Keita. Good to see you. Lady C, let's everyone thank God for my wife on tonight. Lady C, truly grateful. Glad you had safe passage back in from up the highway, over the highways and byways. We're truly grateful. Tonight, we're going to talk about spiritual stamina. That's what we're going to talk about on tonight. We're going to talk about spiritual stamina. Whenever I say spiritual stamina, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is the first thing that you think about when I say stamina? Majority of us, good to see you, Barad. Stay safe out there on the road. Majority of us would think that once I say stamina, the first thing that should come to our mind is endurance. And this is what the enemy is doing. The enemy is coming after coming after a child of God, coming after your strength. I'm going to take time right there just to go in for just a moment. The enemy, once again, is coming after your strength, your endurance, your power. He's coming doing everything he can coming at you in every way that he can to weaken you so that you're not able to stand against anything that tries to come toward you out of the test, the trials, whatever it may be. So if the enemy feels though that he can weaken you, he has you. The reason that he's coming after you, after your strength, is because he knows that if he can cause you to doubt your own strength, he has you. I hope that I'm saying something so far that you all can gravitate to. So the enemy is coming after your strength. He's hitting all of us. See, one thing that I love about this, let me take all of us out, because the enemy is not omnipresent. He's not all power. He can't be everywhere at the same time. He can't be everywhere at the same time. So what he would do, he would have his imps that will literally try to come and try to antagonize you, that will literally try to fight you, de-strengthen you. That's not even a word, but I'm going to put it in there. Try to de-strengthen you, zap you of your strength, to make you think that you're less than what you truly are. But I want to tell each and every one of you on tonight that when you are a child of God, God have given you a certain strength. God have given you power to tread over scorpions and serpents. God have given us that type of power. And if the enemy feels as though that he can fight us on that side and snatch our strength, he has us. Because where there's no strength, when we don't have strength, we can't fight. And God is wanting me to tell you on tonight, the Spirit of God is wanting me to share with you on tonight, that He has given you strength, and it's your time to what? Fight back. Lay hands on yourself right now tonight and say, I'm fighting back on tonight. I'm fighting back on tonight. God is giving you an endurance. God is giving you a spiritual stamina to endure what the enemy is trying to do. He never gave the enemy power over us, but we give the enemy power over ourselves because of what we give into him. We have to know whom and whose we are. If we're saying that we are a child of God, if we're saying that we are trusting God, I hope that everyone hear me. If we're saying that we are a child of God, we need to learn how to operate in his power. We need to learn how to operate in the power that he has given to all of us as being a child of his. You must understand, even though I know that we're all human, we're flesh and spirit, and I know sometimes our human nature, our human side, our fleshly side can get the best of us, all because sometimes things can catch us off guard. Isn't it amazing that when things come at you, blindside you, it can catch you off guard? But we have to learn. We have to learn that that's how the enemy works. He always tries to do a sneak attack. He always tries to come at you at a time when you're weak. He tries to come at you at a time when you're down. He tries to come at you when you're least expected. But we have to always be on guard. The scripture says over in Peter the book of Peter that for the enemy is as of a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So the enemy, once again, is after your strength. He's after your strength. I'm talking about from the pulpit out the door. The enemy is after your strength. So what is stamina? What is stamina? Stamina is the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort. So in other words, it's staying power. It's staying power. And too many of us on tonight that are under the sound of my voice, those that are listening, those that are tuned in, it's so many of us that we're falling by the wayside, all because of the blows that the enemy is throwing. So stamina, God said, I have to give you a spiritual, I want to increase your stamina because we're falling by the wayside. So stamina is the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort. So how does the enemy fight you? How does the enemy come after you? If he can hit your mind, if he can get in your mind and start playing with your psyche, he knows that he has you. So tonight, once again, we're talking about spiritual stamina. This is just the beginning. We're going to start a new series, Spiritual Stamina, talking about stamina. The enemy is doing all that he can to disrupt your mind. Woo! So God is simply saying, I need to renew your mind. I need to strengthen your mind to let you know whom you are. Because sometimes we lose focus of that. And when we lose focus of that, the enemy has us. So once again, stamina is the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort. Can I go ahead and put that in layman's terms? That regardless of how he's fighting, God said, I'm going to give you something that's going to help you sustain what you're going through. Oh, Lord have mercy. I can hear my grandmother saying, for this battle is not yours, it's the Lord. For the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to him that endureth unto the end. So somebody say stamina, spiritual stamina. So God is giving you something in this hour, because the enemy knows now that when you learn how to operate When you learn how to operate in who you are and what God have gifted you or what God have given you, the strength, the ability, the anointing, the enemy knows that when you learn how to operate in that, you're going to start causing havoc to his kingdom. Why? Because when you know that you are a child of God, you operate in that power. You operate in that anointing. So in other words, when you know who you are, it causes detriment to the enemy. So I'm speaking to everyone right now before we go any further. You need to know who you are in this hour. You need to know who you are in this season because it's the enemy's job to fight, but it's your job to fight back. Lay hands on yourself again and say, I'm fighting back. I'm fighting back. He's giving me spiritual stamina. Let's keep going. Spiritual stamina is, so if just stamina is the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort, spiritual stamina is the ability to operate from a spiritual perspective rather than your natural ability. Let me give you that again. Spiritual stamina is the ability to operate from a spiritual perspective rather than from your own ability. So God said, I'm not, watch this, I'm not strengthening your outer man, I'm strengthening your spirit man because God says, watch this, this is a spiritual fight. This is a spiritual fight. This is a spiritual fight. So he said, I'm strengthening you spiritually because majority of us, let me flip that. Majority of all of us, we're failing spiritually. And God said, I have to strengthen your spiritual man because the enemy is a spirit himself and he's coming at you any way that he can. Whether it's operating through someone that's close to you, it's a spirit. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. You know what Ephesians says. It's a spiritual fight. It's a spiritual fight. So the enemy is coming at us spiritually to break us down. And if he knows that if he can break our spirit down, once again, he has us. So spiritual stamina, write this down. Spiritual stamina is the ability to operate from your spirit rather than your natural self. Because your natural self gives out. That's why you're tired. In other words, thank you. In other words, you're trying to fight out of your own strength. And God is simply saying, when are you going to give it to me? Let me say that again. You're operating off of your own strength. And God is literally saying, at what point are you going to give it to me? Do we necessarily have to run out of our own strength? No. But when we learn how to flip the knob or learn how to flip the switch, and give it to God, it makes our fight that much less what we're naturally doing because we're giving out. We're giving in. But God is simply saying once again, I need to strengthen your spirit. Too many of us are falling by the wayside. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God. Through what? The pulling down of stronghold. It's a spiritual fight. It's a spiritual fight. So God is simply saying in this hour, once again, in this season, I need to give you spiritual stamina. In other words, I need to give you staying power. I need to give you the endurance, not to be so easily get tired, throw in the towel. We have to become, I read a saying that really blessed me. It said, become the storm. Become the storm. Become the storm. In other words, can I simplify this? Fight the thing that's fighting you. Please put that in the lower thirds. Please, someone put that on the screen. Fight the thing that's fighting you, but fight it spiritually. Fight what's fighting you. The reason the enemy is winning is because we don't know how to fight correctly. We're fighting with these and with our mouth instead of allowing the God in us to fight for us. I'm going to say that once again. We're fighting with these and with our mouth instead of allowing the God within us, the Christ is within us, the Spirit that is within us, the Spirit of Christ, to fight for us. To fight for us. Fight what's fighting you. Fight what's fighting you. One thing that I learned that will surprise the enemy is when you fight back. that surprises the enemy. Have you ever, we're going to get on into it so you can do a little bit of writing. We're going to get ready to go. Have you ever been into it? You got hit with a blow, blindsided with something, and it dazed you to the point of where you couldn't even throw a lick? That's what the enemy does. He's trying to blindside you. If he can blindside, he feels as though that he'd knock you off guard. Just because you got blindsided does not mean that you can't fight back. I hope that I'm saying something so far. Just because he blindsided you does not mean that you do not have the artillery to fight him back. In other words, let the God in you, let the Spirit of God arise in you to learn how to fight the enemy back. He don't know how to take it. The enemy does not know how to take it when you start throwing spiritual blows back. That's what Jesus did. That's what Jesus did over in Matthew chapter number 4. It said the Spirit of God led Jesus into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And he was, watch this, after Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights, the Bible said, for he was tired and the enemy caught him in a weak state while he was tired. And then guess what the enemy said? He says, well, if you're hungry, command that these stones be made bread. Jesus came back, watch this, that regardless of how I may be feeling, regardless of how my human side, my human nature may be feeling, I'm not going to give in to that because I know the enemy is an adversary that wants me to give in to my fleshly desires. So even in my weak state, watch this, while Jesus was weak, God has strengthened him enough to speak spiritually back to the enemy and tell him, for it is written, for man shall not live by, come on somebody, bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So in other words, when he come at you, watch this, from a natural perspective, you come back with it with a spiritual perspective. The reason majority of us are losing the battle, the reason the majority of us are losing the battle is because we're not spiritually built up enough to give, oh, have mercy, to fight the enemy the opposite way that he's fighting us. You have to be spiritually built up. God, once again, the Spirit of God, he's wanting to give you spiritual endurance in this hour, in your season. Isn't it amazing? I'm glad that I said that. We just came out of a series called Seasons. Isn't it amazing that when you're in your season, that's when your biggest fight? When God have opened up the door for you, when God have not, let me take the door out. When God have walked you, allowed you to get into the building and to give you access to all the other doors, isn't it amazing that at that time, the enemy fights you the hardest? He fights you, of course, you know, the Bible speaks of at the door, there are many adversaries, but not only that, there's also adversaries once you get inside. So the enemy fights you that much harder. So God is simply saying, watch this, I have to strengthen you because we knew what to do prior to getting the blessing. But why did you lose strength after you obtained what you asked me for? The reason is because you got relaxed and said, okay, I got it now. You said, okay, I got it now. And as soon as you said that, the enemy was waiting and said, okay, now it's my turn. Because now that they think that they have arrived, let me step in and start raging a little war on the scene. Let me start making some things happen. Watch this. Let me start making some things happen to make them think that God is not really with them. Let us keep going. So in other words, you have to become the storm, okay? Even though the storms of life is raging. Y'all know it. Even though the storms of life are raging, make sure what's raging don't knock you off guard. Become the storm and start raging yourself. Am I making sense? It may knock you down for the moment. It may knock you down for the moment, but it shouldn't knock you any further than your knees. Once you get up in authority with that spiritual stamina, with that endurance. Become the storm. We got to move on. God is giving you a second wind. God is giving you a second wind. Somebody say he's giving me a second wind. What is the second wind? A second wind is a new strength or an energy to continue. That, in other words, is still spiritual stamina. Because the enemy thought that you was not going to get to this point. The enemy thought that you wasn't coming back. Can y'all do me a favor? Go all the way back. Can we just say something? This is still Bible and Rich, man. And let the enemy know I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Yes, I'm coming back. Because God has given me, He has given me new strength. He's given me energy to continue. He's given me a second wind, spiritual stamina. He's given me the endurance. He's given me their endurance. I got a few things that I need for you all to write. I got a few things that I need for you all to take note of. How to increase your spiritual stamina. How to increase your spiritual stamina. I'm going to give you all a little bit of time just to write that, and we're going to get ready to go on in. How to increase your spiritual stamina. How to increase your spiritual stamina. Become the storm. Become the storm. Yes, become the storm. You have to make sure you become the storm. Regardless of what's fighting you, God has given you power. When you are His children, when you know that you know, when you are a child of God, He have equipped you with something. Woo, that's mind-blowing. And all we have to do, literally, by faith, is tap into it. Literally by faith, all we have to do is just tap. Somebody say just tap into it. All right, let's get ready to write. How to increase your spiritual stamina. How to increase your spiritual stamina. Number one. The first thing that we have to do in order to increase our spiritual stamina is to something real simple. Y'all ready? Slow down. Woo. Slow down. You have to slow down. Slow down. Somebody say I have to slow down. That's the number one. I have to slow down. Slow down. Psalms 27:13-14 says, Psalms 27:13-14 says, I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Watch this. 14. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and He shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. At this point, David is expressing deep confidence in God. This is what he's expressing deep confidence in God. In other words, whenever he was going, whatever that he was going through, he took it to God. Does that make sense? That whatever he was dealing with, whatever might have been fighting him, whatever was coming against him, whatever it may have been, he took it to God and not to someone else. He took it directly to God. But when you look at this, look at the same scripture, and we look at the word see, it talks about to experience. Experience what? Experience what? Let's go back in here. Go back in verse 13. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord. So in other words, I'm going to experience God. In other words, I know who He is. I know whom I am. I know who I am connected to. So I know what He can do, because if He did it then, He can do it again. If He has done it before, He can do it again. Are you all with me so far? And you must understand that your strength, here we go, verse 14 says, wait on the Lord. I got to stop right there. Wait on the Lord. Your spiritual stamina, your endurance, your strength comes in, right there, at the word wait. W-A-I-T. Somebody say wait. But while you're waiting, you have to wait in confidence and expectation. Whoa, man. In your wait lies your strength. In your wait lies your endurance. If you can wait on the Lord while you're going through, come on. Sometimes we go through things. God said, in order for me to build you up, I have to slow you down. In order for you to get what you need, I have to slow you down. And in the midst of me slowing you down, it's going to cause you to have to wait on me. Just because I didn't answer when you prayed at the time that you prayed does not mean that I wasn't working. Building spiritual stamina. So in order to be built up spiritually, in order to have that endurance, watch this. In order to have that, God said, I have to build you up to the point to where that if just because you spoke it, I have to make sure your spirit is where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to make you wait. Somebody say, I'm going to have to wait on it. In the midst of the waiting, you got to wait with the spirit of expectancy. You got to have the confidence. Yeah, have you ever been to that point to where, about like the Hebrew boys, even if he don't show up, even if he don't do it, I know he's still able. That's what you have to learn to start saying. Say, I just got to slow down. I got to slow down. Some of us watch this. Some of us are moving so fast, we outrunning God. Oh, God. Some of us want it when we want it, and God is simply saying, slow down. You trying to outmove me. Slow down. Slow down. I had fainted. I would have given up. This David, unless I believe to see the good, it's in my heart that regardless of what's coming at me, regardless of what's fighting me, I know he's going to work it out for me. May not come when I want him. Y'all know the song, but he's always on time. Somebody say, I got to slow down. He has to slow you down. He has to slow you down in order to strengthen you. Am I making sense? You cannot obtain strength when you're on the go. You cannot obtain strength when you stay. God said, I have to slow you down. Wait. Your strength is in the waiting. Your strength is in the waiting. Your strength comes while you're waiting, but you got to wait with the spirit of expectancy. You have to wait in confidence. Yes, while you're waiting. You can't work. Well, Lord, how you going to work it? Like, no. If you believe him like you say you do, even though I know we're human, we'll throw that in there. I know you're human. Yes, we are. But we have to learn to trust in him. So sometimes he has to slow us down to give us what we need. David had to go through it. Many in the Bible had to go through it. Things had to transpire in their life to get them to where they needed to be. The enemy is after your strength. Number 2, let's go. Number 2, y'all ready? Number 2, one step at a time. One step at a time. How to increase your spiritual stamina. You have to take one step at a time. One step at a time. Jeremiah 10:23 says, Lord, I know that people's lives are not their own. It is not for them to direct their steps. In other words, when you try to outmove God, we're subject to walk into something that's not of God. I'm going to read it one more time. One step at a time. Even as I said earlier about slowing down. When you outmove God, you move too quickly. When you outmove God, you move too quick. Learn how to take a step at a time. God, watch this. We're subject to walk. When you outmove God, you're subject to walk into something that's not of God. Psalms 27:33 says, for the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. So in order to get built up, you have to realize, watch this, my steps are not of my own. I have to wait on the order before I start stepping. That makes sense. But like when you go, if you order some food, you can't get it until it's ready. You cannot step God. Does that make sense? If you order something, you have to wait. We back up in 1. Slow down. You have to wait. You can't go back there, expect to get it right then because he's preparing it. So in other words, watch this, one step at a time. As he give it to you, then start moving. Before you start moving, acknowledge God. Before you start moving, have a conversation. When you outstep him, you get ahead of him. And now we'll start walking into something that we will say was God, but in reality, it's not him. Oh, yes, we can start walking, and the enemy can set up something to have you thinking that it is him. And God said, no, that's not me at all, because when I order your steps, first, you got to slow down one step at a time. 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 The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Acknowledge him in everything that you do. In order to be built up, learn to slow down. In order to be built up in him, watch this, quit trying to outrun him. Quit trying to outmove him. His ways are not our ways, not his thoughts our thoughts. Quit trying to outmove God. Quit trying to outrun him. Quit trying to outmove him. Number 3. Here's a good one. Number 3. In order to be built up, in order to get your spiritual stamina built up, some endurance, have to visualize. Go ahead quickly. Somebody say, I have to visualize. I have to visualize. Hebrews 11:27 says, by faith he left Egypt. Listen to me, talking about Moses, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered because he saw him who is invisible. In other words, the scripture is talking about even when Moses was breaking the children of Israel out, watch this, he brought them out of Egypt, trusting not in the king that was there, fearing in the king that was there, but trusting the one that gave him the instructions. You see how this is lining up? Visualize. Regardless of what it seemed like, regardless of what may be coming at you, regardless of what may be fighting you, make sure that you visualize. Am I making sense to you? Because if he brought you to it, I always say this, he will bring you through it. If he brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. Visualize. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing that when you get on the path and start journeying, the enemy always tries to come after you. Watch this. And I believe just like God hardened Pharaoh's heart, sometimes God have to harden the hearts of the enemy to come after you just to see would you lose focus. Don't lose your vision. Have the same vision that you had or that you was given, that God has spoken, the vision, the instruction that he had given you prior to coming out of your situation. Don't allow what's behind you to distract you. You have to visualize. How do I visualize? In my mind, I can't worry about what others are saying. I can't worry about what you think I should do. No, what is he saying? Just like he gave you the instructions in the beginning, he's the same God. If he brought you out of the ghetto to the get more, you won't go, come on. Where you are now is not the final destination, but you have to have a mindset. He brought me out of that, so he's going to bring me through this. Somebody say visualize. I have to have a mindset to know that he's going to bring me out of it. Why? Because my steps are ordered by the Lord. Whenever you are following the instructions, whenever you are following the instruction that he has laid out for you, there's no way that you can err. Sometimes I know it's hard. Especially if you're leading a lot of people, especially if you are a pastor, especially if you are a leader, any of the above, it gets hard. Why? Because you're going to have others that are complaining. But you have to turn a deaf ear to the complaining, not hear them, hear God. You have to hear them. Rest assured, while Moses was bringing them out, the children of Israel was complaining. They said something, man, blew my mind. Over in the book of Exodus, they started saying, well, you brought us out here to die in the wilderness. You brought us out here to die. We had better graves in Egypt. Moses come back and said, what you need to do, you need to get yourself together, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. In other words, can I simplify it? Here you go. Visualize. God will never lead you to a point to where that you will become so vulnerable for the enemy to reattack you, to come back at you in a way and get you. No. He will never leave you vulnerable. You have to trust him. Trust him even when you know the saying, trust him even when you can't trace him. Trust him even when you don't even hear him. You have to trust it. You have to trust him. Number 1 was what? You have to slow down. You have to slow down. You're moving too fast. Slow down. Slow it down. On the go too quickly. You can't hear him when you're always running just because this is not working out the way that you want it. Watch this. You on the go. Now it's this. Now it's that. Now slow down. The next thing, you have to take one step at a time. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Next, you have to visualize. You have to visualize. Once I slow down, once I begin, watch this, to take my steps according to the Spirit of God, according to what he has given me, even though my steps are ordered, I'm not going to step out of my own will. I'm not going to step on something that I want or what I think. No, God, what are you saying? After the step, I have to visualize. Y'all are with me. I have to visualize. I have to see it. You can't worry about what's behind you, because what's behind you, that's exactly what it is. What's behind you can't catch you unless you turn around and go back. He's wanted to strengthen you. He's wanted to strengthen you right where you are. He's wanted to strengthen you. Yes, he does. He's wanted to strengthen you. He wants to give you that spiritual stamina. He wants to give you that spiritual stamina. Yes, he wants to give that to you. Because he knows how the enemy, let me tell you something. I don't care how high you are, how deep you are. Everybody suffers an attack, but everybody does not handle it the same. Yes, majority of the people have been caught off guard, but their response is what determines their outcome. Y'all ready? Number 4. Here we go. This is going to get you real good. And now we're talking about building up your spiritual endurance, your spiritual stamina. We said the first one, you got to slow down. The next one, you got to one step at a time. The next one, visualize. Number 4 is you have to check your appetite. What are you eating? Check your appetite. What is your appetite calling for? Too many of us are messed up by lead because we're saying that we're hungry, but in reality, it's not your flesh that you need to feed. It's the Spirit of God that's hungry because we're starving it. God said, I want to give you spiritual endurance. I want to strengthen you for what's ahead of you. There is no blessing that comes without a testing. He says, so you have to check your appetite. 1 Kings 18:41. And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of an abundance of rain. So in other words, what you eat determines what you are about to receive. In this area, in this season, in this moment of your life, in this season, in this door, in this building that you're in, check your appetite. Check your appetite. Check your appetite. The one you feed the most, that's the one that's going to dominate over the other. What are you feeding the most? Yes. Elijah told Ahab, get up, get thee up, eat and drink. That's from a natural perspective. Spiritually, get into him. Lord, I thank you. I give you glory. I glorify you. Why? Because I know where you're taking me. I know what you're about to bring me into is greater than where I've been or what I have experienced. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? After every battle, there is a blessing, but there is no blessing without a battle. Check your appetite. What are you eating? What are you eating? When God wake you up in the middle of the night, 2, 3, y'all hear me say that all the time. When he wake you up in the middle of the night, the easiest thing for us to do, watch this, get up, go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen without turning on the light, open up the refrigerator, get something, or go in the pantry and grab something sweet. Feeding the wrong thing. God is waking us up. He said, I'm strengthening you. At this time, I'm waking you. Check your appetite. I need for you to pray more. I need for you to fast more. I need for you to give me more of your time. In order to get strength, you got to spend time. That's the moral of it. In order to get strength, you have to spend time. In order to get strength, in order to be strengthened, you have to spend time. In order to be spiritually built, in order to be spiritually built up, you have to spend time. What are you eating? Check your appetite. Number five, last but not least, number 5. A majority of us, we do this last. I guess that's why it's here. We do it last. Y'all ready for it? Just ask God for help. You cannot do this by yourself. Ask him for help. He's waiting on you. Matthew 21:22 says, and all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Ask and it shall be given. Knock and it shall be. So what are you doing? The reason we don't ask first is because we're trying to do it on our own. And he's simply saying, I'm waiting on you. We say, God, I'm waiting on you. No. God said, no, I'm here. I'm a very present here. I'm waiting on you to ask me. But not only ask, the Bible also said that he that comes to God must first believe that he is God and a rewarder of them that what? Diligently seek him. So he's just waiting on you to open up your mouth and ask. Some of us have too much pride. We're so weak in our spirit, we're too afraid to ask. But you have to know who to ask. Lord have mercy, man. You have to know who to ask. Watch this. Can I help you? You ask God for strength. You ask God for strength. You ask God to help you. Watch this. Well, in this area, that area, you ask God for the help. God touched someone, and that individual naturally, from a natural perspective, don't even know what they're doing, but God touches their heart to be a blessing to you. But God is waiting on you to ask him, which is spirit, which is in spirit. Yeah, am I making sense to you? He then touches someone, as Jesus making intercession for, he's the mediator. He then touches someone that's in the natural to come meet your need. But you ask God for help. You ask God to help you. Yes. Yes, I hope that I'm helping somebody. I hope that I'm helping somebody. I pray that I'm helping somebody. I pray that I'm helping someone. Slow down. Slow down. Some of us are outrunning ourselves. We're so broken. We're so tired. But we're still running off of fumes. You're still running off of fumes. Fumes only last for a little while. But God said, I want to give you something. I want to give you that second wind. Slow down. Sometimes we'll say we're running. You'll say God has you running. But in reality, he doesn't. It's yourself. All because sometimes we think that we have something to prove to others. All because sometimes, watch this, we're trying to outdo someone else. No. The strength that God is wanting to give you is for you. So the first thing, have to slow down. Just going back through them. The next one step at a time. One step at a time. For the steps of a good man, woman, are ordered by the Lord. Slow down. Don't outwalk God. Don't get ahead of him. Then visualize. Visualize. In other words, regardless of what's going on back here, regardless of what's trying to go on in here, regardless of what's trying to go on in here, don't allow it to get the best of you in here. Am I making sense to you? Just because it seems one way, it's up to you to speak to visualize. In other words, when you look at it from a natural perspective, they say in order to get it, you have to see it first. See it in your mind's eye, as they say, and then speak all those things into existence for manifestation. No, what I'm simply saying is see God working on your behalf. See him strengthening you spiritually. It's not naturally. It's a spiritual, watch this, it's a spiritual strength that we need. Paul talks about that so vividly, about exercising the body. And our spirit man can be so. You have to make sure that you have balance. Have to make sure. We're so strong for everybody else, but we're spiritually bankrupt. Broken. Enemy getting the best of us, and we want, Lord, what can I do? God said, no, I'm just waiting on you. Check your appetite. I've been waking you up. I've been waking you up. And sometimes when God wakes you up, it's not necessarily for you to pray. Sometimes God is simply saying, I need for you to hear. Let me give you some instructions. What are you feeding yourself? What are you eating? What are you eating? What type of appetite do you have? Everything does not call for food. I gave you the illustration a little earlier, Matthew 4:4, when Jesus went out there. Watch this. Jesus didn't go there prior in Matthew in chapter 3. Here we are in chapter 3. Jesus met John at the Jordan. Jesus asked John, I need for you to baptize me. In other words, that's a little bit another subject, another time. Jesus said, watch this, I can't do anything, John, until you give me permission to operate on earth, to operate in your kingdom. Ooh, we'll deal with that another time. We'll deal with that a whole other time. So watch this. You have to visualize, shake your appetite. And last but not least, ask God for help. He's a very present help. Very present help. Just open up your mouth and believe it. When you ask God for help, trust him, start moving. Get up. You can't be strengthened when you're just lying there, just dormant and doing nothing. Faith without works are what? Dead. That's the word of God. Faith without works are dead. Faith without works are dead. Let's go to 1 Kings right quick. We probably won't get a chance to finish this. 1 Kings 19. 1 Kings chapter 19. 1 Kings chapter 19. Here's what the Bible reads. We're going to get ready to go. 1 Kings chapter 19 says, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. You must understand, here it is. Prior, there was on Mount Carmel. There was a duel. Jezebel's prophet, all Baal, they serving Baal, all the prophets that she had up there, they was coming against Elijah. They want to battle to see who God was the best, who God was the biggest, who God was the God that was able to do something. They battled. Y'all know the story. Go back and read 18, 17. Y'all go back and just read that. And here it is now. So when Elijah began to pray to God, when Elijah goes to God, asking God, talking God, I know, in other words, can I simplify it? I know who you are. I know what you can do. But God, I need for you now because the enemy is around trying to antagonize me on every side, trying to say that you are not who you say you are. Trying, watch this, trying to say that their God, small g, is bigger than the big G. Never. So God, God shows up, he sends down, man, he consumes everything that was on the altar, man, even the water, he dried everything up with nothing left and killed, not only that, and then kill all the prophets. So here it is, chapter 19, 1 Kings, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal, how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. The enemy gets mad when you're operating in the Spirit of God. The enemy gets mad when you're operating in the Spirit and doing what God, let me tell you something. There is no enemy. There shouldn't be anything that we go through, even though we go through it, it can sometimes get the best of us, but you allow God to rise and the enemies be scattered. Well, making sense. Verse number 2. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. This Jezebel boasting. And here Elijah, man of God, in a weak moment. He's in a weak moment. He's in a situation. Pay attention. We're talking about strength and endurance. We got to go. We got 10 minutes. Here we are. If I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. In other words, watch this. Jezebel telling Elijah, just like you did it to mine, I'm getting you. You next. That's how the enemy operates. Anytime that God shows up, anytime that God blesses you, the enemy is going to try to get on your trail to try to dummy you down. The enemy is going to wage war against you. Number 3. And when he saw that, watch this, talking about the man of God, we all get in a weak state. We all get in a situation. We all find ourselves somewhere. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life. You must understand his life didn't belong to him. He's a child of God. He's one of God's chosen prophets. And came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. He didn't stop there in Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah. Judah means praise. He didn't stop there. I wonder what would have happened, even in the midst while he was running, if he could have just stopped and gave God a praise. Sometimes we run past the thing that's necessary and miss what God has for us. We run past the necessary and miss what God has for us. Verse number 4. Verse number 4. We're going to get ready to go. But he himself went a day's journey. He's running. He himself, pay attention. He himself. It didn't say God was leading him. It didn't say God told him to go. It didn't say that that God gave him some instruction. No, this is him doing it on his own. Slow down, Elijah, slow down. Step out of time. But he went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die. The devil is a liar. I want to speak to someone right now. I do not care what you're going through. I'm not saying it like that. Let me rephrase it. It does not matter what you're going through. It does not matter what you're going through. If God be for you, he's more than whatever it is that's trying to come against you. Lay hands on yourself and say, I know God is for me. I know that he is for me. I know that he's working on my behalf. I know that it's working in my favor. Don't run. Ooh, yes, sometimes the enemy will make, yes. But when you gain your momentum, and just visualize, think for a moment. No. He didn't bring me to this point to run from the enemy. No, the enemy is supposed to flee. Resist him and he'll flee. Oh, let's go. Just pay attention to it. Watch this. We're still talking about spiritual stamina. Got just a few more moments. He said, under juniper, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough. Have you ever been there? I'm just asking. Have you ever been to a point to where you forgot who you were? And you says, watch this, it's enough. I'm done. Forget it. I'm done. God said, no, you're the one I need to strengthen. To let you know that even a chosen individual goes through a moment, goes through a weak moment. You are not Superman. You are not Wonder Woman. You go through a moment. It makes you want to give up. But when you think of the goodness of Jesus, when you think about all the things that he has already done for you previously, it shall bring you all the way back. Am I making sense to you? He says, enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. Oh, God just wanted me to share with you right now. You need to change your conversation. You need to learn how to manage what's coming out of your mouth, because life and death lies in the power of your own tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit. Be careful what you say. Watch this. Verse number 5. And as he lay and slept under the juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, arise and eat. And with an appetite, here we go. The Spirit of God, God sent an angel. God said, Elijah, can I just paraphrase this? Elijah, I see what you're going through. I see that you're at a weak moment. I see that you was at an all-time high when you was on top of the mountain. But because, watch this, because you got a word that someone is after you, now it seems like your spirit man is dying down. But you got to learn how to manage your mind. God said, watch this, I'm not going to leave you nor forsake you. I got you. Watch this. Here it is. And he lay and slept under a juniper tree. Behold, then God sent an angel there. He didn't just send help, but the angel touched him and said, the first thing he says, get up, arise. In other words, can I paraphrase this? Even though it looked naturally here, he's simply saying, get yourself up. You're better than this. You're bigger than this. Eat. What do you mean eat? I'm not just talking about here, it's talking about natural food, but I'm talking about spiritual food. You should have something on the inside of you that you should be able to feast on. You should have enough word. You should have enough God on the inside of you. Arise, get up, eat. In other words, arise, shine, give God what? The glory. Arise, eat. Verse number 6, and he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking, watch this, baking on the coals, and a cruse of water at his what? Head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. There was a cake baking on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. Look at where it's placed at. Pay attention to where this is placed at. The coals, is something being baked. The cake is, I apologize, the cake has been baked on the coals, and there's a cruse of water. It's everything is at his head. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. And I just see this thing right here so plainly. In other words, the reason that this is by his head is because this is where the problem is. The enemy is in his head. The enemy is trying to fight his thoughts. The enemy is after his mind. The enemy is trying to take his strength. If he can get your mind, he has you. So in other words, your mind needs to be restored. Your mind needs to be renewed. To burn away the coals hot, burn away that old thinking. Romans 12, 1 and 2, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Verse number 2, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your what? Your mind. The enemy is after your mind. So God is saying, I need to strengthen you where you're being hit at. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And it said he laid down again. He laid down again. Have you ever had a good meal and laid back down again? That's how you gain natural weight. Woo, let's just go. Let's just go. We got just a couple more minutes. Let's just go. Verse number 7. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time. The angel of the Lord came again, what? The second time. He was drained. He was spiritually drained. We're talking about Elijah. He did all this walking. Had a great battle, did all this walking. He's nervous, he's scared, and he's hungry. He needs food, not just naturally, but spiritually. Not just spiritually, but naturally. And the angel of the Lord came the second time and touched him and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. Did you all catch that? In other words, where I'm sending you, it's bigger than you. Eat. You need to ask God for help. If God be for me, he's more than the... So in other words, watch this. If God be for me, he's more than the world is against me. So in other words, he says, arise, get up. This is what the angel of God says. The angel of the Lord said, arise, get up and eat. Why? Because the journey that is before you, he said, it's great. It's too great. Where you're going is great. Where you're going is bigger than you. But you can't go anywhere weak. In order for me to order your steps, I have to strengthen you. You need this in order to get to your next miracle. You need this in order to get to your next blessing. This is not the end of your road. Tell somebody I'm getting ready to go somewhere. You can't keep me where I am. I'm strengthened. He have given me a second wind. Let's get ready to go. Watch this. Verse number 8. And he arose and did eat and drink again. Here we go. And went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. If you're going to go anywhere, go to God. If you're going to run me, I'd rather run to him, not to people. That's all that I'm simply telling you. If you're going to run, they had a song, who do you run to? When I need love. Who do you run to when you need help? Am I making sense to you? Mount Horeb. Let's get ready to go. He says, now verse number 9, and he came thither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. God is speaking now. He could hear him while he was in a hurry. He couldn't hear him. It's not that he wasn't speaking. He couldn't hear him because his mind was not even there. He said, the thither he came thither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. And he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah? In other words, why are you here? Please help me. Please, you all help me so we can get ready to get up. Why are you here? Am I not God? This is I'm putting this in. Do you know who I am? So in other words, when you know him, why do you allow the enemy to boo you down and to keep you down? No, I understand you're going to go through something, but why are you here? In other words, God is simply saying right now, you are where you are because of you. Get up. Get up. Why are you here? Why are you here? And he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah? Verse 10. And he says, I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. Come on, really? In order to be strengthened, take ownership of your own stuff. In order to get revived, in order to get your second wind, admit I failed. In order to get that God has for you, watch this. You can't shift the blame to some. No. I accept my wrong. Now, God, make me over. Does that make sense? He says, now, have forsaken of thy covenant, thrown down the altars. We're going to get ready to go. Thrown down the altars and slain the prophets with the sword. And I only am left. That sounds so much like Job. And I only am left. And they seek my life to take it away. It's Jezebel after you. Oh, God, we can stay there all night, but we got to go. I just want to get to this point. We're going to get ready to walk up out of here. We're going to get ready to tune off. And he said, go forth and stand. Do you all catch that? And he said, God, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. He was on a mount. Mount Carmel. He was on the mount. Watch it. He said, go forth. Didn't God tell him, I need you to go forth, stand before the Lord, and behold, the Lord passed by. And a great and strong wind rent the mountain and break in pieces the rocks before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earth. I got to stop right there just for a moment. Isn't it amazing that when you're hurting or when you want to see God, everything is him? When you're wanting to see God, we feel like everything is, oh, that's God. Oh, that's God. No. God said, I need to bring you back into right thing because I need to bring you back, your mindset back in the right place, that whenever I move, you'll know who I am without a shadow of a doubt. He says, and break in pieces the rock. And he said, but the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. Verse number 12. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. In other words, quit looking for signs and listen for his voice. Wait on him. You can't hear clear. You can't hear him clearly when you got all kinds of things that's flowing here. I hope that don't make any sense to you. We got to get ready to go. We can keep going. And it was so when Elijah heard it that he wrapped his face in his mantle. Let's go back, verse 12. And after the earthquake of fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, watch this, a still small voice. Sometimes we expecting God to, yes, I see what you, no. Just because you made your situation magnanimous, you done magnified it, does not mean that God, no. God said, I'm still coming to you the same way. I'm still God. I'm strengthening you. Don't expect for me to do something that you want me to do. I'm coming to you in my own way. And that's in a still small voice. God is strengthening you. God is wanting to give you what you're missing. I know that the battle has been rough. I know what you've been going through. This is what God said he knows what you've been dealing with. But God says tonight, he's wanted to strengthen everyone under the sound of my voice. He said, I want to strengthen you, give you that second wind to let you know you are going to make it. This time you're going to win. This time it's already done. God said, just listen to me. Don't get weary in well doing, because it's your due season. In due season, you'll reap if you faint not. The enemy he'll fight you because he wants you to throw in the towel. But you was built for this. If what you're going through, God wouldn't allow what you're going through if he knew that you couldn't handle it. Even though some of the things we brought upon ourselves. But God said, you were built for this. And I'm going to strengthen you. God said, I'm giving you a second wind to come up out of this. And he said, I'm giving you the second wind. And this time, I want you to let everyone else know, come on, Grandma, how I got over, how you made it over. Operate in the strength that you was given. Operate in it. Walk in authority with it. The devil don't like it because I'm blessed like that. The enemy does not like it because you're blessed like that. He's strengthening you, giving you the endurance. Just because you're in the door doesn't mean that the enemy is not going to fight. Just because you're in the building does not mean that there's not some enemies in there. Just because you're in your season does not mean a battle is not waiting on you. You got this. Be encouraged. Stay focused. I speak peace upon your life right now. I speak it upon your life right now. That God strengthen you where you're weak, build you up where you're torn. That you're going to make it in this season. Stay connected to him. Acknowledge him in all thine ways. He'll direct your path. The Bible also said, give thanks in all things. Sometimes we're on the mountain, sometimes we'll be in the valley. Y'all saw what Elijah was. He was on the mountain for one moment. The next minute, he's in the wilderness. We have wilderness experiences, but don't allow your experience to keep you there. The wilderness to keep you trapped, to keep you stuck. I speak that upon you right now. Everything that you're dealing with, everything that you're going through, everything that's in front of you. God said, I'm already working it out. He said he's waiting on you to open up your mouth and say, Lord, God, I need your help. I cannot do this on my own. That's all that he's been waiting on. I pray that I said something today. I pray that I said something in this Bible enrichment. I pray that I said something in this Bible enrichment that has blessed you. I need for each and every one of you to get a seed. I need for each and every one of you right now to get an offering. Even if you desire to pay your tithes, whatever it may be, I need for everyone to get it right now. Get your seed, get your tithe, whatever it is. My Cash App is on the screen. The church Cash App, if you desire to give your tithe, is $NGBM. Once again, the church Cash App is $NGBM. The mailing address is P.O. Box 4043, Dublin, Georgia, 31040. Once again, the mailing address is P.O. Box 4043, Dublin, Georgia, 31040. If anybody desires to sow a seed into my own life, my Cash App is on the screen, $H Channel 3. Once again, my Cash App is on the screen. If anyone desires, if this word has blessed you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, my Cash App is on the screen, $H Channel 3. Be encouraged. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you on next Tuesday. Matter of fact, make sure that you tune in Thursday. Tune in on Thursday for Level Up. And if all of you all, I need you all to go to my bishop's page, go to his page, go to the Shabbat Church page on tomorrow night, his Bible study, Off the Chain. Make sure that you all tune in there Wednesday. Wisdom, Knowledge, and Understanding. My bishop, Dr. Todd M. Hall. Make sure you go there. And then on Thursday, so you got a whole week that you can be busy. On Thursday, y'all tune in right here with myself for Level Up Thursday. Let's go a little bit higher. Be encouraged. Look forward to seeing you soon. Y'all have a blessed night. Take care.